Hello, and welcome to another review with Black Girl and Kdrama Vibes. So, today we are going to be reviewing one of my favorite Japanese dramas. And when I say one of my favorites, I mean that this is, mm, you know, top 10, okay? It is most definitely in my top 10 of Japanese dramas of all time that I love. So let's jump right into it. So, the name of the drama, if we're doing the Japanese name, is Imawa no Kuni no Alice. Okay? But we all know it as Alice in Borderland. And this drama came out on Netflix during COVID, and it was everything. I was so happy, because it already sucks. We couldn't do anything, we couldn't go anywhere, but this came out at a great time. So, if you don't know, Alice in Borderland is a suspense thriller type of drama. And there's 3 seasons. Okay, so this is my first time doing a review where there's multiple seasons. So we're going to break it down by the seasons and go from there. And then I'm going to give my rating of each season, and then we'll come up with an overall rating for the series. Okay, so season 1 came out in 2020, and it's about 3 friends. Um, and these 3 friends somehow are transported to a deserted Tokyo, right? And in this deserted Tokyo, they have to play deadly games to survive. Sounds crazy. It is crazy. And the first season is amazing. So, season 1 is hands down, okay, my favorite amongst the series. So, season 1 is my favorite of all the seasons. Um, I remember watching it. I watched this with my best friend. May she rest in peace. But we watched this together. She came to visit my family and I, and we binged it. It was just like episode after episode. Um, and I don't know if I mentioned, but season 1 has 8 episodes. And we were just like, hey, you ready for the next one? You ready for the next one? And we completed it that night. And like we were on the edge of our seats. Of course, we had our favorite players, because the people that's in the drama, you refer to them, they're players, obviously. And, we had our favorites, and, but there was just this constant, you're just waiting for what's going to happen next. And if I had to, like, pick between Alice in Borderland and Squid Games, I'm going Alice in Borderland hands down. Like, the brutality that was in that first season cannot be matched. Okay, like I said, you're on the edge of your seat. It is amazing. Remember, I've already said my little rant on Squid Games. I have not done a review, and I don't really plan to do a review. It's not in my top of anything, and I just feel like it would be a waste of everyone's time. One, because like I said, I've only seen season 1, and I do not plan to watch the other seasons. Um, But yes, so season one is a 5 out of 5 for me. Straight up 5 out of 5. Um, and let's just go ahead and get into season two. Oh, but before I say, because I did forget to mention the main character. So the main characters, for the male lead, it is Arisu, and he's played by Yamazaki Kento. And the female lead is Usagi, and she's played by Tsuchiya Tayo. And yeah, but they are like the male female leads when so they're pretty much in all of the seasons, and that's all I'm gonna say. I really can't give specifics on other players because people die. Okay, people die and they don't make it, and if I say something and it's gonna give it away, and then you're gonna be like, oh, that person died, and da 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 da. So, but I will say the two main characters, I will say their names. So there you go, Arisu and Usagi. So for season two came out in 2022, so we had to wait 2 years, which was a fiasco for me. But season two had 8 episodes as well. So there's that. So what is season two about? So basically the remaining players, the surviving players, right? They have to go head to head with the remaining bosses, like the face card bosses. And I know this probably doesn't make sense and I can't really explain it because you have to watch it to understand it, but it's basically based off playing cards. So if you have a deck of cards, you have the ace of spades, you have the club, and you know all the different suits in a card. So it's based off that. And so then, basically as they go on, obviously things get harder. And so they have to basically go head to head with the remaining face card bosses to win. And basically they're ultimately trying to gain freedom to leave Alice in Borderland, right? Um and so what are my thoughts when it comes to season 2, right? So still intriguing. Season 2 is still intriguing. It's not as exciting as the first season because, obviously it's the first season, you know, and you don't know what to expect, but you kind of have, those expectations going into season 2. Not saying that there isn't things that are going to like shock you, because there always is. There's still the brutality throughout the season and the different challenges that the players have to face and stuff, but it just wasn't as exciting as season 1. Like, I wasn't on the edge of my seat, but trust me, when it came out on Netflix, I finished all 8 episodes in one day, because that's what I do, especially when I love something. So season 2 wasn't a 5 out of 5 for me. It was a 4.5 out of 5. So first season got 5 stars, second season got 4.5 stars. So that's where we're at on that. Now let's get into season 3. Season 3 came out this year, 2025. Very long awaited. It took 3 years for us to get this season. And this season already had disappointed me because it had 6 episodes and not the 8. And I was like, what in the world? But let's get into it. So basically, season three is about Arisu and Usagi, right? Somehow they get pulled back. You remember, like, they're getting pulled back into what they originally were trying to escape from. And they're married, they have moved on, so yeah, it's like, okay, this really, so that within itself was kind of like, what in the world? Um, but I can't say no more on that. That's all, that's kind of already a spoiler, but you can also read this stuff online. So, to the synopsis of each season. But that's all I'm gonna say. They're basically getting sucked back into what they were originally trying to escape. And my thoughts was like, obviously this was my least favorite season. Um because one, there's two less episodes, okay? And I was just disappointed with the season as a whole. Like, it wasn't um it wasn't what I had expected. So like at the ending of season 2, I was like, okay, what could season 3 possibly be about? And please know that like Alice in Borderland is a whole manga. Okay, so there is a story behind this. But I didn't read the manga. The manga has been sitting in my Amazon cart for a long time. And I'm not talking about like the English version. Like when I buy manga, I buy it in the original language, so in Japanese. But it's been sitting in my cart, and I just was like, oh, I'll just get it, after season 3. But now I'm like wishing I would have, because I feel like some pieces is missing and I didn't get the pieces. Um because I had in my mind a different setup for season 3, and that is not the direction that season 3 went. So, yes, there was a disappointment, and it had lost what made it intriguing to me, right? Um, so I think out of the games that were played, I only actually enjoyed one of the games. Um, but the rest kind of like just annoyed me. It was like, what was the purpose of this? It makes absolutely no sense. Um, but as things unfold, you start to really have a better understanding. I mean, which we kind of already had that understanding in season 2, but it's like the stupidity of people in season 3 is what agitates me. And that's really all I can say, because if I keep going, I'm going to give things away. Um, so yeah. So season 3 is a 3 out of 5 for me. A 3 out of 5. And I'm being gracious. I think it's because I love Alice in Borderland. Just the first 2 seasons, I loved it so much that I just was like, a 3 will suffice. Like, but I could have literally rated lower than that. But a 3 out of 5 is where we're going, just because I truly am a fan of Alice in Borderland. So basically seeing all of that from seasons 1 to 3 and my ratings, basically the overall rating for the series is a 4 out of 5. Now, you may be like, how did you get that calculation? Hey, if you know math, you should be able to figure out how I got that calculation. I mean, technically it's a 4.1 out of 5, but y'all know I don't do the points unless it's a point 0.5. So it's a 4 out of 5 because that 4.1 does not round it no higher. So it's a 4 out of 5 overall for me, even with season 3 getting the 3 out of 5. So I definitely say if you haven't seen it, definitely give it a try, give it a watch. Just know that season 1 and 2 are the best, and season 3 kind of falls short, but overall it's still a good drama. Like I said, this hands down is in my top 10 of Japanese dramas. Like, I will even go as far as to say it's in my top 5. So I love Alice in Borderland, and I hope you guys watch it, and I hope you guys enjoy it as well. But as always, feel free to leave comments and let me know your thoughts. And I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.